Hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. It's a podcast where we watch an episode of Parks and Recreation and then talk about it. And by me, I mean my name's Jeremy, and joining me from all the way across town is my friend Jason. Say hello, Jason.
Hello.
Hey, how'd it do?
So good. So good.
Awesome.
You may have recorded a little early, and you may have gotten cut off at the so we'll find out. We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Why are we doing it this way, Jason?
Well, my failure this week is I watched the wrong episode. So you watched the correct one, and I watched next week's episode. And so rather than not recording, we just decided, Jeremy, why don't you run this one, walk us through the episode, and then we'll talk about it, and it'll be fine because you know the episode. I've watched this episode a bunch of times. It's going to be great. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Before we start, is anybody else really sweaty right now?
No. I mean,
okay,
of
cool.
The two of us, I am not sweaty.
All right. I don't know why. I'm just talking to a microphone. This is where, I don't know. It's already happening. I'm starting sentences without any way out.
Yeah.
So what episode number is this? This is 6, episode what?
This is technically episode 3, but it's also episode 4 because they had the double episode.
That's right. That's right. This is starting off so strong.
Yeah. It's the title of this episode is Doppelgangers. And it is it's a good episode. I've seen this a bunch of times. So, Jeremy, what is a doppelganger?
Oh, a doppelganger? That's like your double, your body double.
Yes.
I believe it's German for body double.
That's accurate. I'm
pretty sure.
I don't speak German, but it sounds right. If more than sounding right, it feels right. So
that's all that's important.
I'm just following my feelings through this episode. It's gonna be great. So what happens in this episode, Jeremy?
Well, first of all, I can't find the stupid script thing that I've been looking for this entire time that you've been talking. So
okay. Well, that can be fixed real quickly.
All right, hold on.
So this episode, from memory, Jeremy, let me know if I am remembering correctly. For some reason, I can't share this with you. I don't know. This episode is the part of the merger between Pawnee and Eagleton. There are some redundancies in the different departments. And so the Parks department is coming together, and they meet their corresponding worker on the other team from the Eagleton and Parks department. And so that is what these doppelgangers are. Did you find
you're doing a great job? Yeah, you're nailing it.
Okay. Well, my numbers file is now frozen, so it's going great. While I'm restarting numbers, have you ever had the experience where somebody said, "Oh, I met somebody who just looks just like you"?
Oh yeah, all the time. I get that. For some reason, I have gotten that many times, and I don't know why. You remind me of someone. You remind me of a cousin. You remind me of so-and-so. And I'm like, how many 6.5 foot tall people do you know? Maybe it's just not a height thing. Maybe it's a face. And yet I'm also one of the most forgettable people that people don't like. They will introduce themselves to me again. And I'm like, no, I met you 2 weeks ago. Do you remember? I'm again that 6.5 tall person. So it's like the height thing doesn't sear me into people's memory. It's my beige personality that just fades into the background, I guess. So that's why I don't. How about you? Do you're a very? I feel like you're a very unique person. Like I don't know. I've never met anybody. I meant that in the best possible way. I've never met anybody who goes, that's Jason. Like that is Jason.
Yeah. I have had this experience before where people have said, I was driving and I saw you driving a Mercedes. And I have to look at them and say, I have never driven a Mercedes in my life. So that was not me. So I don't know what your problem is, but not me. But I've never had a face-to-face encounter with somebody who was like, oh, that guy kind of looks like me. So, or woman, that woman kind of looks like me. When I would just feel really bad for her and him, them, whatever. Yeah, it is but it's unnerving when somebody's like, I saw you. And you're like, no, you didn't. So I have my document open again, Jeremy, and I'm going to try to share it with you. Yeah.
Jason.
Yes, sir.
I just found it.
Oh, great.
I just found it.
Fantastic.
All right, let's start the episode. Are you ready? 5 minutes in.
Take it away.
All right, so there are, I believe, three major plot lines, like in most of the episodes. In this one, we have like you said, the doppelgangers. We have the Eagleton Parks Department are being absorbed into the Pawnee Parks Department. We have, let's see here, Ben and Chris are axing the budget. They're reducing the budget down and having a great time and having, recalling how they used to do this together in other states and areas. And then there's the Anne and Leslie side where they are getting Leslie's getting some bad news from her friend Anne. But along the way with the doppelgangers is like these little side stories, which I think this is why I like this episode so much, because we get the two Rons, which is really funny. We get Tom and Eric. So all the whole doppelganger things breaks off into these small little stories and their own kind of threads throughout, even though they weave back and forth. So even Jerry has I just think this is a really well written episode. So I'm just going to roll through it because they kind of go, back and forth. And so basically we open in on the two kind of city council groups meeting, and Leslie is saying, hey, at 12 o'clock this morning, the city of Eagleton ceased to exist and was rebranded back into Pawnee. And everything's back the way that it was, except that women can now, and minorities can now vote, and they have indoor toilets and no longer burn widows for learning arithmetic. Let's hear. Leslie is going to be the merger czar, and they're going to talk about their departments. And there's two Eagleton departments that Pawnee doesn't have: the Department of Infinity Pool Design and the Department of Dressage. Which Alonzo gets a little annoyed with that and says it's horse dancing, madam. And so, and then April tells them that Eagleton is now under martial law, and that's the cold open. So, yeah. There you go.
I love that they have this infinity pool design department.
Yeah.
Because
how many infinity pools do you need?
Yeah, like for the whole city. And I wonder, like, I have a friend who's doing a remodel in Mount Lake Terrace, and part of the remodel project that was holding them up was their fence height around their house, because they needed to replace part of the fence, and they wanted it a little higher, and the city said no. And so that's like a planning department. And so like the city having a infinity pool design department, like that's so many people are wanting to have a certain level of control over the dimensions of your infinity pool.
It's because Eagleton has a lot of people putting in infinity pools.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise you'd have infinity pools everywhere, which the very name infinity pool would mean that they are everywhere. There is no
just
end
keeps going
to an infinity pool. So how do you rein that in? That's the real existential question that the Eagletons were wrestling with, and that's probably why they were broke. I bet.
Yeah, that's why they needed an entire department around it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do love.
Have you ever been in an infinity pool?
Oh no.
No. Yeah, me neither. No, I've seen them.
I've seen
them
them
this is water,
like,
and
hotels and like music videos. And it's like, even in a hotel, I don't want to go in a hotel pool really, because that's where kids pee. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm. That's vacation soup.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I don't even like hot tubs. So,
If it's my hot tub that other people haven't been in, which I had one when I was like a long time ago in high school, but we don't need to get into that. They're nice. They're good for after, exercise and when you just want to get away from everybody because nobody else likes hot tubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't like them. I don't like feeling like I'm the soup. So
it's you're being boiled slowly. Yeah, you're the frog.
That's just me. So
all right. So then they're back in back at the Parks and Rec department, and Leslie's telling everyone that they're going to be paired up with their equivalent in Eagleton. Donna's going to be with someone named Craig. April's going to be with someone named Tinnifer. Ron is with a guy named Ron, and Tom's like, no, Tom Haverford equivalent. And then that's when he hears about Eric, who's supposed to be amazing, who's supposed to be a new fill-in temp. And then Jerry comes back and everyone's like, hey, everybody. Or Jerry's like, hey, everybody. And everyone's like, no. And the best one is Ron is like, why, Leslie? And Ron has a basketball for some reason in this one.
He directs the park department.
Well, sure, but he's just like hanging out, like tossing a basketball back and forth. I don't know. And there's boxes everywhere. There's just so many boxes. And so Leslie brings Jerry back out of retirement to help with the filing. And Leslie's like, welcome back, Jerry. And he's like, thanks. But because we're starting fresh, I was wondering if you call me by my real name. And April's like, Larry? And he goes, no, it's not Larry. It's Jerry. No, it's Gary. So he gets his own name wrong. And April's like, your name is Larry Gingrich. Come on, it's already hard enough for my family when you call me Jerry. And she's like, classic Larry. And they start to chant because this is the show where they chant a lot, and they chant Larry, and he says, geez. So then Leslie lets them know that they're going to try to save as many jobs as they can, but they're going to have to lose some people because of the redundancies, and they're not sure who to keep because April, Tom, and Donna are the best three humans that have ever lived. And Ron is basically George Washington, but the Eagletonians are probably good too. So and then
Leslie
we cut
is
to
clearly leaning towards getting rid of all the Eagletonians.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. She wants to definitely keep her people that she likes the best. And then they cut to Chris and Ben, and I thought this was a really funny scene. They're in Chris's office in a table or something, and there's birthday decorations and hats, and Chris is like, we're throwing a birthday for a new city, happy birthday new Pawnee. And Ben's like, party's over, and tells him that you guys lost millions of tax dollars and you have to clean up this mess you've made. And one of the Eagleton guys is like, you're not as nice as the other guy. And he's like, I don't care. And then it cuts to Chris talking head. They just had an amazing system where Chris pumped everybody up and made them feel awesome, and Ben would swoop in and slash their budgets to ribbons like a majestic alley-oop. Chris is like, you're amazing, and Ben would come in and dunk on them. You're all fired. Chris is like, teamwork.
Yeah. Yeah, there are times where I just love Ben Wyatt so much. And this is one of those scenes where party's over.
Right. But she's in his actual wheelhouse. I mean, this is where he feels the most confident, in my opinion. Right. And so he can just be that guy. He's like, I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah. Versus trying to
worry about other people's opinions. That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Unlike when you're trying to show people your claymation and you're like, I don't know,
It's better than Avatar. Which there's another Avatar coming out this Christmas season. Are you going to go?
I need to get caught up on the first one. I didn't watch it yet.
That's also in theaters right now. So you can spend 2 movie tickets to see 2 terrible movies. And you didn't like the book first? No, it's so bad. It's so bad. Did you like Avatar? Did you ever see Avatar?
I never saw it. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen it.
All right. I thought you were saying I need to catch up because It's been so long.
Oh, just because I haven't seen it. No. I've never seen
it out.
No,
So-
I heard it's like Pocahontas.
Yes, and Fern Gully.
Yeah,
Did you see Fern Gully?
I never saw Fern Gully.
Oh my goodness.
It just sounded like a ditch full of ferns. Like, why do I want to watch that?
Because there's a talking bat. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I watch Batman.
Okay.
Bat. All right. So then Jerry is leaving his voicemail, and he's
his
very
outgoing message. Yeah.
his outgoing message, and he's very crestfallen that he has to leave it for Larry Gengurch. And so, and basically they interview him and say, when Leslie said if I could come help, Gail and I were just getting ready to get on a cruise to the Bahamas. And I said, Gail, put away that bikini because Pawnee needs me. And he's at the filing cabinet and he pulls out a banana that somebody forgot in there. And my guess, it was Jerry, because he's the only one who files. So pretty funny.
Yeah.
And now comes one of the best parts of the entire episode, in my opinion.
Yes.
Is we get to meet Craig. And I had my stuff up. Craig is played by, who's Craig played by?
Billy Eichner.
Yes, Billy Eichner.
Yeah, he is excellent for this role.
Yeah,
I've never seen him do any other kind of role. So, yeah.
He's the librarian in Bob's Burgers, and he's awesome in that. He's the voice of the librarian in Bob's Burgers. He's very, very funny. But yeah,
have you seen Billy on the Street?
I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those
are really
Craig
funny as well.
With a microphone and yelling at people. It's so great.
I think he's a perfect addition. He's like that, just enough of it. Too much of it is overbearing, but just enough Craig, and it just makes everything amazing. So Donna introduces herself, and this instantly Craig is just loves Donna, and she goes, "Hi, I'm Donna," and he goes, "Oh, that is the perfect name for you. I love it. Never change it." And Donna says, "I wasn't. You're Craig, right?" I was like, "Oh, yes. I hate that name. It's so boring. Sounds like someone's cousin, Craig." I wanted to be in Spanish named Terrence, but that didn't happen. And she's like, "Okay." Even Donna is just taken back because Craig is so over the top. I love Craig. I remember the first time I saw this episode because of Craig. And so she's like, "Here's what I do. What did you do?" He goes, "I did everything. I carried the Eagleton department on my shoulders for years, and I loved every second of it. You don't even know." So it's just over the top Craig. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I do. I love that line. It sounds like somebody's cousin.
Craig.
It's just
but then if your name's Craig, then you're not somebody's, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
So then April gets to meet her.
The normalness of being a cousin. Craig does not want to have the normal name. I just love it so much.
Oh my gosh, he's so great. So great. April gets to meet her counterpart, Tinifer. And
with two Y's.
With two Y's. Yeah, it's Tinifer with two Y's and two N's in the middle. It used to be Jennifer, and she decided to rebrand herself, and then she cuts herself off and says, "Hang on, it's Xanax o'clock." And we know April, she's pretty standoffish. But as soon as she sees her little pillbox, and her whole countenance changes, and she's like, "Oh, I am so into whatever is happening right now because you are insane." And she takes on her personality to kind of mimic kind of the Andy from The Office aspect of just mimic who they are.
Right.
And
but the big difference though is
she's mocking
Andy,
her for sure. Yeah.
Andy's trying to suck up.
Right.
And April is trying to take them down a notch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tinifer is absolutely oblivious, 100%, probably because of all the Xanax. And so they start talking about, she's complimenting on her dress and how cute it is, that it's bonks, and that her. So then just April's so genius because she's using everything kind of against her. She was like, Jennifer's like, I saw my spinning instructor wearing it, and I was like, shut up. And where did I get that? She goes, oh my God, who's your spinning instructor? April's like, is it Gregory Winona? And he goes, I go to Giannis. Who are Gregory and Winona? I've never heard of them. Are they better? And April's like, Winona rocks my world. And she's like, seriously, you got to get me in there. He's like, it's a must. And then they cut to April. She goes, she's the worst person I've ever met. I want to travel the world with her. It's so great.
Oh my goodness. It's so funny. The dynamic of Jennifer. She's like a terrible person. I totally agree with April. Like I would not want to hang out with this person at all. But like her devotion to a spinning instructor, like even people with Peloton bikes,
sure,
and, like they have like their coach that they love to have. Like people get really into these instructors. It's pretty weird.
My fear would be the mimicry of it all. And then April has an end game, which ends up working. But if I were to ever do that in real life, I wouldn't want that person as an actual, like, I wouldn't want to keep that up forever, you know?
Right.
Like the fear would be like, they're like, oh, we're best friends now. I'm like,
yeah,
no, you missed the point of all of that. I was making fun of you.
Right. And or on the flip side, trying to win somebody over, like in the episode that I actually watched. So then you have to figure out, how am I going to get rid of this British accent in a cool, non-freaky way? Forward promotion to next week.
So then Ron gets to meet his doppelganger, whose also name is Ron, whose last name is Dunn. And Swanson asks him, is that your name, or are you telling me you're Finnish? And Dunn says, both. And Ron goes, Dunn and Don. And Ron says, I like Ron. And this is where, and then we cut to Tom.
And Ron is, Ron is played by Sam Elliott.
Yeah. Sam Elliott. I can't believe I left that out.
Super macho persona Sam Elliott.
We got dueling mustaches in the same office.
Yeah. And he is in so many Westerns and just is like, he's able to play like a tough guy really well. He's the cowboy in the Big
and one
Lebowski.
of the top, right? One of the top 10 voices of all time, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
I could just read the phone book.
Yeah. Tell me more about the Ford Escape, Ron or Sam.
Either one works. Yeah. What's that?
Where were we? I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought. Sorry. And then now this is where Tom meets his counterpart, and Rajiv, a character named Rajiv, walks in, and Tom's like, "Hey, well, you must be Eric." He goes, "I'm Rajiv from IT. This is Eric," and he holds up a little thumb drive. And Tom's like, "Eric's a computer program, and it stands for the Eagle Reservation Information Center, and it does all the scheduling." And Tom's like, "But that's my job." And he goes, "You still have a human being in charge of booking tennis courts? What is this, 1990? I guess that explains the shoulder pads." And then Rajiv walks out, and Tom takes his shoulder pads out, and he goes, "How did he notice these?" So
one of the things I love about this scene is the counterparts have been very visually similar in like with April and Ron's. But now like Eric or Tom meets Rajiv and he just is assuming, oh, they also have an Indian guy.
Right.
And Rajiv is like, no, it's Eric. Eric is the computer program. I love it. It's just such a great twist. So yeah. Oh, Tom. Poor Tom.
Poor Tom.
Yeah. Tom will solve the Eric problem.
Oh, he does. Absolutely.
It'll be great.
Yeah. In a great way. So then, so then Anne shows up to Leslie's office and wants to chat with her for a little bit. And she goes, so you could hear some things from me, verbal things from my mouth. Did that sound weird? And Leslie's like, are you okay? And there sitting in front of her is Evelyn, who is the health department counterpart from Eagleton. And Evelyn says, there wasn't a lot of work for me there because Eagletonians are very healthy. And Leslie's like, wow, this could be a huge challenge because we have the first documented case of mega diabetes and also the only known occurrence of Lou Gehrig's other disease. We've been written about in textbooks. So she excuses Evelyn, and that's when Anne goes to Anne drops some news on Leslie, and basically is that Anne's going to step down, and because her and Chris, based on last episode, they're thinking about moving and raising their child somewhere that is not the diabetes capital of at least Indiana. And so, Leslie takes it about as we would expect, very
not
childishly and not well. Yeah. She doesn't like this. She doesn't accept it at all. She's not happy for her friend, for her decision. She just feels betrayed at this point. And so anyway, Anne just tries to distract her several times, once with a huge plate of waffles that comes out of nowhere. And then also later with a Joe Biden on a horse that is Joe Biden shirtless, riding it a la Vladimir Putin style. And yeah, that doesn't really work. And Leslie kind of turns away and she's sulking. Yeah.
Yep.
And then so Leslie comes into the let's see. She's talking with April and Tinnifer. And during this time, Leslie is saying she's turning anything around to where she feels like she's being betrayed. But April is still just talking with Tinnifer about their friendship and how awesome Tinnifer is. And Leslie's like, it's so nice to see a blossoming friendship instead of it wilting away like a dying turd flower. And April's like, oh, totes. And then they came up with nicknames for each other, and how crazy amazing is that?
What are their nicknames there, Jeremy?
Oh, Slut and Skank. Slut and Skank.
What great and names?
That's crazy amazing, isn't that, Les? And he goes, you know what's crazy amazing? Commitment. And I'm looking for someone who's in it for the long haul. And we're basically creating a new version of Pawnee, and Pawnee is going to commit to one of you. You need to commit to Pawnee. And that's pretty much that part. And so then we cut to Donna and Craig, and this is another amazing Craig scene, where basically Donna's trying to get a park somewhere to switch over to Bermuda grass. And she's like, I guess I can do that. It's only 80 cents more per square foot. And Craig goes ballistic and grabs the phone. And I'm not going to do the whole Craig. Do you want to do Craig's lines? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Gimme. You want me to put Bermuda grass in a continental climate that's a 6 on the Beaufort scale in a park with zero drainage? I want Kentucky bluegrass. I want 10% discount, and I want you to apologize to my best friend Donna. How's that?
Yeah. Hi. Is there, and I'm just guessing here, some kind of medication that you maybe need to take a lot of, or have taken none today? He goes, oh, I have a medical condition. All right. It's called caring too much, and it's incurable. Also, I have eczema.
Oh man, I hope, listener, that
was fantastic.
Destroy your headphones, because I was actually moving away from the microphone as best I could to not over Craig you. So
yeah, you're on the recording. Your waveforms was just a wall. It's just a wall of sound,
like a redacted bar. Like it's nothing here.
No, that was great. It was perfect. That was fantastic.
All right, I love Craig.
Yeah, Craig's great.
It's called caring too much, and it's incurable.
I'm going to go take a nap for half an hour. No, 45 minutes. That's another episode. Anyway, and then Leslie and Ron have their sit down, and they get to know each other a little bit more. And this is where the walls come crumbling down around Ron Dunn for Ron. The shine comes off a little bit, and Leslie asks him to talk about himself, and he loves outdoor nature. Ron's like, yeah, cool, amen, brother. And he's a big believer in environmental conservation. And cut to Ron, he's like, wait, what? And recycling and composting and the like. And he goes, I'm a yoga nut. And I'm a nut. And Ron is just not having it. He goes, they make a delicious milk, man. He goes, I'm vegan, of course. Slowly working towards full freaking vegan. And Ron says, what in God's name is freaking vegan? And Leslie answers the question for him. You only eat vegetables that have been thrown out of other people's dumpsters. And that's when Ron notices his footwear. He goes, what is that on your foot, sir? He goes, these are my trusty sandals. I believe every man's feet should remain uncaged. Same goes for all chickens. And this is where Ron is done with Ron.
Done.
Done. He's done with done. So yeah.
I love that Leslie though is like, would you be opposed to signing an official loyalty pledge to our new town?
Right. Yeah. She's bringing this whole loyalty thing. She's got these contracts now that she wants everybody to sign. And Ron Dunn is like, as long as the towns are open to the ideals of communal living and everyone pitches in towards the common good. In the immortal words of Cat Stevens, if you want to be free, be free. Cut to Ron Swanson. I no longer like Ron. He is done. Yeah. And then cut back to Tom, who's working with Eric, and it's an amazing program. It's fast, it's fun, and easy to use. But there's one thing no man or machine can beat Tom Haverford at talking mad trash till I get what I want. And so he's got all of these old props like, dirty magazines and open bags of chips that he spills everywhere. And he leaves them out on his desk. Like there's this person who's just a slob, and talks to Leslie and says, this guy, Eric, is a disaster. And he's like, and Leslie's like, what do you mean? He's like, he just has a bad attitude. I hate this place. Get me out of here. That kind of thing. Very unreliable and racist. And I think he may have been to jail, although, maybe those are just regular face tattoos. So really talking some trash about this non-existent person. But Tom's like, you know what? Let me see if I can turn him around. You've got a lot on your plate, Leslie. And thanks, Tom. You're the best. And then now we're back to Ben and Chris and talking to the old Eagleton government, and they're slashing things in the budget. They had 400 Segway scooters. Those are gone. Ben
is just like, sell them. They're gone.
Yeah, sell them. You had 6 full-time baristas on the payroll. The baristas gone, as are the masseurs and the full-time barista who provided coffee for the masseurs, which I just think is really funny. That's not included in the 6 full-time baristas. That's the 7th one, I feel, right?
That's the masseurs barista.
The masseurs barista. And this is when Chris is just like, man, this is so great having the band back together. You know what? It's time for some celebratory lunges. And as he's doing the lunges, he's about 6 inches every lunge from Ben's face as he lunges in. And Ben's just, he's in his zone. Like there's clicking at the highest level at this part. And now this is a really cool part too, because Leslie and Donna are talking about the cutbacks, and Leslie's like, we're going to have to make some of these cutbacks. And she goes, I mean, your job is secure, but I think Craig's going to have to go. And she's like, and Donna's like, no, man, you got to keep him. I mean, I know that he's intense, but I've never met anybody who cares more about this job. And Leslie's like, takes offense to that. I'm right here. And Donna's like, no, seriously, he might care more than you. And she goes, honestly, if I had to choose between him and me, I'd choose him to leave. And she's like, what are you saying? Are you thinking about leaving? She's like, I wasn't planning to, but I could. I got the condo in Seattle, the fiance in Denver. Wait, what? No, don't worry, it won't last. So, and she talked about the condo in Seattle before. Oh, that's right. She loves the rain in the fish market.
Yeah. She has not mentioned the fiance in Denver.
No.
This is a new
wrinkle. Always a new wrinkle with Donna.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Jerry through the window goes, Leslie, I would be happy to go back to retirement if it helps, if you have to cut the staff. And she's like, what? Even Larry wants out. What's happening? And she just gets offended because she feels everyone's abandoning her, mostly stemming from her, what she feels is this betrayal from Anne.
It's all Anne's fault.
Right. And that's when
I'm with April.
What?
It's all Anne's
It's
fault.
all Anne's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when Anne actually comes in and she says, dude, you're mad at me. Don't take it out on everyone else. It's not fair. And she goes, I'll tell you what's not fair. I'm going to have to watch the Oscars with Ben alone this year. And remember that Angelina Jolie dress thing? He had, and I quote, no comment. So Leslie's already thinking ahead to everything that she's going to miss out with when Anne's gone. So that's really sad.
Yeah. One of the worst things to do, in my opinion, is to think about how everything is going to go wrong, because you will miss all the things that go right.
Yeah, Leslie, but then you're ready for all the things when they actually because then if they don't happen, then the worst case scenario. Right?
Yeah, but if you are only looking for the worst case scenario all the time, you're going to miss all the good things that are happening right in front of you. You're going to miss the opportunity, Leslie, to hang out with Anne in these last few months because you're only thinking about the times you're not going to be able to hang out with Anne. So just hang out with Anne. That's what I have to say about it.
No, I like it. You tell him. Tell him.
I'll tell this show that's multiple years old.
So then they get together in Leslie's office. It's Ron, April, and Tom, and she's basically trying to get them to sign these contracts. And they're like, "Dude, you're crazy. You've gone over the top, and nobody wants to sign these contracts."
It's a 50-year commitment, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah. And so then she's like, you know what? Well, fine. Then I'll just make new friends. And so she gets all the Eagletonian people into the conference room, and she opens with giving them some cookies. And she goes, I made cookies with Pawnee's original town colors of blue and yellow. However, I didn't have yellow frosting, so I had to use mustard. But don't worry, I put tons of sugar on them. So it'll even out sugar mustard.
So gross.
So gross. Ron doesn't want any, too sweet for him. And so basically she's trying to force this whole friendship thing. What's your story, new Anne? You're kind of pretty. Talking to Evelyn, the nurse. Thanks, but I don't work at this department. Shut your kind of pretty mouth and eat a mustard cookie.
Eat a mustard cookie.
So then she tries to get to know everybody and then becomes friends. And Craig goes, I don't have time for this. I'm halfway through designing a bamboo gazebo as a tribute to the founders of Motown. And Leslie's like, that's so Craig. I don't even know what that would look like, but I want to see it, because if Craig, just the way Craig approaches life, I really want to see his tribute bamboo gazebo.
It would be amazing.
It would be amazing. And I mean, completely over the top and unneeded, but amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah. And at this point now Ron's getting involved and drags her out and said, you're done. You got to go. And at this point we cut back to Chris and Ben, and they basically said, hey, this has been awesome. Do you want to go get, dinner like we used to in the olden days after one of these things? And like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. And then, so they've got a plan to go hang out. And Chris says, you know who I'm going to use to calculate tax and tip? And Ben's like, me? And it is. It turns out it's Ben.
Yeah, because he's good at the math.
Yeah. And then cut to Jennifer and April. They're hanging out in the courtyard, and they're getting just basically a spa day. And Jennifer's like, I'm having so much fun. And this is where April enacts her end game and says, dude, you do not want this job because it's the pits. And Leslie's going to be like, blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, And she's like, okay, I love this. Can I say something? Right now, I think you're right. And I've been thinking about going someplace while my husband's in jail. And April's like, oh my God, can I just say something? And Timber's like, yes. It's so dumb. It's so funny. It's like an aggressive, yeah, dude, don't hold back. And April's like, okay, you should totally stay at my house in Miami. What? And she goes, I'm serious. Come by anytime. Just let yourself in. Although the gate does stick sometimes, but you can just jump it. And Jennifer's like, you're so amazing. You're like a skinny Mother Teresa. And cut to April talking to the camera, talking head. And she goes, it's Dwayne Wade's house. And I got his address off the internet. I really hope he's there when she walks in and he throws a basketball at her head. So now Ron and Leslie are talking, and he's like, what is wrong with you? She's like, I don't need to explain myself with you. I'm the czar. I can do as I please. And Ron's like, just cut the crap. Like what's going on? And basically this is where Leslie finally becomes real and says Anne's trying to leave. Oh shoot, I lost my spot here. Oh, just like that. And she wants to talk to me about it. I don't even know what to say. And Ron is like, dude, that you love her and that you understand this her life, and geography will never change things. Like, whatever. I don't even need her. I got Jennifer now, and Craig and Eric and the racist drug dealer who I've never met. And those are real friends. And Ron's like, you can't force friendship. It takes time. And he goes, I thought I had a friend once. And it turned out he was the singlest person I've ever met. And the camera pulls back and Ron Dunn is sitting in the corner, like doing some meditative yoga. And he says, I agree with Ron. It's like Maz once said, hold on to your friends. And it's very, that's again, one of my favorite like practical effects with the camera is there's a conversation, we pull back, there's somebody else in the room that's either being talked about or shouldn't be in the room to begin with. And Arrested Development did that really, really well. And so basically they fire Ron Dunn or let him go. And Ron gives one last piece of advice, which I think is pretty great. You're the advice guy, Jason. What was Ron's advice?
Ron Dunn's?
Ron Dunn, yeah.
The Taurus and Capricorns never mix, do they? Just remember, Ron, giving in to hate is like drinking salt water. The thirst only grows worse.
Leslie, remove this man before I commit an act of violence against him. And Ron, and there's this final little shot back. He's like, whatever you do, I won't fight back. And he just gives it the peace sign. It's so good. I was watching this episode with my kids, and that's when Emma just turns to me and goes, I like that, Ron.
Which is the funny thing is, like, you're not supposed to like that Ron, because you're supposed to like our Ron. This Ron is wrong, but he's so nice and kind and everything opposite of the Ron that we've always loved. So it really puts us in a bit of a bind.
Yeah, there can only be two Rons.
Yes, true.
Yeah. So then Tom goes back to basically we cut back to Tom, and he's talking about Eric, and Eric is gone. He's been replaced by Tom, the town-wide organizational matrix. So basically he has leveraged, he's gotten Eric, quote, Eric fired, and now Tom is there, and he's not only has he gotten rid of his own doppelganger, which never existed, but he now has, his job is like 10 times easier because he has a new computer program to do his job for him.
Right, which will really help when he's starting to launch his new businesses.
Exactly. And then again, Tom and Craig, I just got to go through this because it's so fantastic. Donna and Craig, and Donna's asking Craig, he's like, do you have any big plans? He goes, no, I've got a ton of work to do. Plus I've got 13 months of episodes of Scandal. And Donna's like, Scandal's my favorite show. I love every character, and they both at the same time, except for Melly. And of course you do. You like Scandal because you're amazing. I love you. No matter what happens with this job, I'll always love you. And he bumps into Tom, and he goes, excuse me, who even are you? And then walks out because like Tom's been non-existent the entire time. So Craig's already like asserting himself as somebody like, he's so great. I run this place. I would. He needed his own like spinoff or something. And then now we cut back to the restaurant with Ben and Chris. And he's like, how's your salad? And Chris says, well, it's called the Good Earth salad, but it's just cheese, toffee, and gummy bear worms, which I had never heard that term before. A gummy bear. I get it because gummy bears, but I always gummy worms.
Right.
Just call them gummy worms, you weirdo.
But I do think, though, for a character like Chris Traeger, he might not know what to call that. Because he probably had been exposed to gummy bears, but now it's in worm form. So it's I don't know what this is. So it works for Chris.
It does. But it works for Chris.
Speaking of gummy candies, where are you on like the peach rings? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man,
peach ring?
Yeah. My wife loves Peachios, peach rings, and I'll eat them every once in a while, and I'll have the first one, and by like the second or third one, I go, this just tastes like gummy dirt, like peach flavored dirt.
Okay.
Where were you?
I don't generally like crave any kind of gummy candy, but those those gummy peach rings, they got a spell on me, man. I can't stop eating those. So it's like I can't have those around. But yeah,
because you're just gonna eat them all.
Yeah, like gummy worms and gummy bears, I know I like, but I don't buy them because I like them too much. But like yeah, those peach rings when somebody brings them to hang out or something, it's like not today, Jason. Be strong. Don't embarrass yourself and your family by eating all of those.
Cut to Jason with 10 Peachios on each finger, like one on each finger, like he's wearing rings. I have the power.
Yeah. You know, one of the biggest disappointments about growing up is
when you couldn't fit candy on your...
No, olives. Like you can't, like I can't fit olives on my fingers anymore. Like, and then like we
keep destroying all these olives.
Yeah, I was like, why am I even doing this anymore? What's this for?
Oh man,
yeah. There's a lot of disappointments about growing up, but that's one of them.
Maybe we should make a brand of like adult-sized olives.
No, I don't think that's a good sentence.
No. Come on, like for. Yeah, that could get bad quick.
I do love that this Chris's Good Earth salad though is just candy and cheese.
And toffee. It's so gross. Like it's not even candies that go together. Like gummy bear worms and toffee.
Why is there cheese? Like, what's the cheese there
for health?
Yeah,
it's
that's
the dairy
food. When it comes to Halloween time, there's usually extra candy around, and I like to do I like to make a thing called a candy salad, which I'll open all kinds of different stuff and put it in a bowl and eat random candies as they come about. Candy salad.
You're a madman.
I love it.
Like, do you? Now I got to ask. Like, do you separate them by like kind and flavor, or do you just throw like M&Ms in with Skittles? Like, oh.
Well, I generally avoid Skittles altogether because they're too much of a variable in are they super crunchy or extra chewy. Like, bag to bag, I don't even know. So, like I don't want a jawbreaker Skittle, and too often I've been hurt too many times, and so I try to avoid those.
Do you unwrap each of the Starburst and throw it in there? Like, what are you throwing? What are you putting in?
Eat Starburst. So it's mainly like it's probably mostly a chocolate based salad. So
okay,
I have my my M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, and then like I'll throw in like a couple of fun size Snicker bars. If I can get a Take 5, a fun size Take 5. Oh my goodness, those are so good. I'll throw those in. Yeah, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
What about 100? What about 100 grand?
I don't really like caramel in my chocolate like that. Like the caramel and the rice. I don't like that combination because that's the 100 gram bar, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right. Yeah. Wow. I thought I knew. You think you know someone? And...
I'll eat them, but I don't think it really goes in my salad very well.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Yeah. Well, much like, well, that's the end of this one, but
that's the end of this one.
No. That's sorry. I meant the segment with Ben and Chris because I was going to try to bring it around, but it ended up being the end part. But there's a little bit of middle part that we got to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, because Chris tells that Ben like, "Hey, we're thinking about leaving." Right? Isn't this where?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Ben's like, this makes me kind of sad, but also very, very, very happy for you.
Yeah. This is what we call an emotional or a mature response from Ben. I'm sad, but I'm happy for you. Look how quickly he got there.
But I also like this part is in the middle. It's just really funny because they're talking about how like, this is kind of depressing, because now that I think about it, it was depressing. But then Chris is like, well, it was only depressing because we didn't have anybody, but we have people now. And he goes, yeah, like, remember, we'd go to town, fix problems, go back to the rundown motel. He goes, yeah, you'd exercise. And I'd rewatch Twin Peaks and hit the message boards and read The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer and find Easter eggs I'd missed. Like, yes, dude. Oh, man. So great. But now they have Ann and Leslie. And that's where he says, yeah, we might be moving somewhere by Michigan. And he's he's happy for, and Ben's happy for his friend because he's a good friend. And then Chris finally finds something healthy in his salad, a cherry tomato. Nope, a gumball. So nothing healthy whatsoever inside of it.
Oh, so gross. Gumballs are also gross. Never.
Gumballs
have you ever had a
gross.
gumball where you're like, man, this was a good idea. That was a well spent quarter.
No, because after you get done almost breaking your tooth and then you finally get to the flavor portion of it, it's gone 7 seconds later. The flavor. Yeah. It's just now gum.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Where do you land on jawbreakers? I always like jawbreakers is such a weird thing. Like as a kid, I always wanted a jawbreaker. Then you get one, you're like, these are dumb. Like the big ones.
The big ones will rip your tongue apart.
Yeah.
The big, huge ones. Yeah. I don't like them. And the small ones.
Plus,
it's like a job. And now I'm working on this all day. Oh.
I know. You got to keep checking it to see what color am I at now. It didn't taste any different.
No. Yeah. And that's really the big scam that candy manufacturers have foisted upon all of us. It all tastes the same.
Big candy, as you will.
Yeah. But yeah,
I know. I remember like when I figured out that Mars, Snickers, and Three Musketeers was basically just the same candy bar with one extra ingredient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you feel like, wait a minute, is this what business is? I can do this.
Yeah. Look at your iPhone. It's your iPhone and somebody else's iPhone. Same ingredients, just kind of mixed around a little bit.
Wait, this is a camera and an iPhone and a phone.
You've got the fun size. You've got the party size. Player. You've got the family pack. Yeah, it's all the same. Everything comes back to once they crack the code on fun size candy. Capitalism, as we know it, has been exploiting us all the time.
Look at Taco Bell's ingredients.
I love Taco Bell.
Beans, meat, cheese, lettuce, tomato.
Yes,
tortilla. What's a tostata? What's a burrito?
I went to Taco
Jim
Bell
Gaffigan for those. Wow. Oh, are you okay? Yeah. You were here. Good.
It was so good.
You made it.
I loved it. And then I forgot that there's a new 24-hour burrito stand, like 2 blocks away from Taco Bell. I was like, why do I keep going to Taco Bell? Let me go to the burrito stand.
Wait, where?
Also on 196.
Where's this at? Yeah,
by Fred Meyer. If you go,
oh yeah.
Like it used to be Dave's Burgers, now it's burritos. I don't know what happened to Dave, but
wow,
it's burritos now. It's like Mexican
24,
food.
That's good to know. It's good to know. It's 24-hour options. Well, there you go. You ever in Linwood, Washington? 24-hour burritos.
Yeah, if you get off of I-5, if you're heading north, get off at 44th Street exit and take a left, go under the freeway, and then it's 3 stoplights, and then it's going to be on your right. You're going to go pull into a parking lot that has Lovers package, or is it? I don't know, Lovers in there. So just park as far away as you can from there and go to the burrito stand. It's a walk up or a drive through, but I have found that eating tacos while driving is difficult. So it's better to just park and eat. What? Have I what?
No, it's like you can walk through. So you've been there and you can just walk through because a lot of drive-through places won't serve you.
Yeah, it's got a walk-up window
for your health and safety. And you're like, dude, I'm at a Wendy's. Why do you think I'm concerned about my health and safety?
That's a little different because that window is only for cars. And so they have an inside
What's
option.
the difference? What? It's a window. It's a window. What does it matter?
Well,
like if the lobby's closed, but if the lobby's closed, it shouldn't matter. Serve me. I have money.
Without a car, if the lobby is closed,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I want to walk there for my health and then get a Frosty, I should be able to walk up to the window and get one because I have money, and that's how business works.
Yeah, you've really, you really have put yourself in a corner here on this one because, you're never going to do that. I know you,
but I might. You never know. I don't know. I'm like, hey, I'm waiting for my oil to get changed. I would like a Frosty, and the lobby's closed. What happens? Denied.
They'll say, come back when your car is ready. And treat your car to a delicious Frosty as well.
All right, fine. Fine. All right. Well, at the end here, we're basically at the end, and Leslie and Anne are in her office, and basically, yeah. So Leslie says, what I really wanted to say is I'm sorry that you're my best friend, and the whole thing is just scary and confusing, and that she loves her. And I want to talk about this and whatever it means. And is that okay? And Evelyn says, yeah, I guess it's good. But again, I barely know you or Anne, so I don't have much to go off of.
Again, this is looking at Leslie in Anne's office.
In Anne's office, yeah.
Cut back, like pull back. She's talking to Evelyn. So
yeah,
like it is a that same trick that you love so much.
Yeah, and then and she's like, "You are excused, fake Anne. That was 6 hours well spent." So she's been practicing her speech with fake Anne this entire time, and that's when Leslie actually talks to real Anne, and that she's like, "Hey, we're going to talk about it. Is now a good time?" Yes, now is a great time, and they sit on the bench that Mark got her back in the day. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, Mark, wherever you are.
Yes,
khaki
Mark
pants.
Danowitz.
That's it, man. That's season 6, episode 4, Doppelgangers.
Yes, man. It is a good episode.
Yeah, it only notched an 8.0 on IMDb.
Yeah, which I don't know. I feel like people later on in seasons, they generally start rating down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's always a accurate representation. I think people kind of get to a point where like, I'm kind of done with this, but I have to watch it for my job.
For my podcast.
Yeah, I have to watch this for my podcast. That's going to come out 10 years after it airs.
Tinnifer, played by June Diane Raphael, she is married to Paul Scheer, who was in your favorite episode, Kaboom.
I was doing some research while you were yammering on and on.
Wow.
I'm joking, about June Diane Raphael, because I thought maybe Tinnifer was also the same person who played Madison in She-Hulk. Madison with
I haven't watched She-Hulk yet.
And one Y. You won't know. You can't guess where. You haven't watched She-Hulk yet? It's weird.
No.
But
okay.
They are different people. So just if you're thinking that, they're different. Madison is played by Patty Guggenheim. Who, is in some other things.
Okay.
Yeah. So she there's nothing here that I would recommend. So
sounds good. Hey, you watched next week's episode already.
Yeah.
What is it?
Be so good.
What is it?
Well, next week's episode is I closed all my notes for that. It is a real good one. It's what's it? I don't know. The title that I was going to go with is "Check That Accountant Crap at the Door," and it is about Tom falling in love with a doctor, Ron trying to figure out what to do with his estate, and Leslie dealing with the recall, but also coming to find out that she has a coworker who tweets mean things about her. So it's a fun episode.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Gin it up.
Gin it up. That's the actual title. Yes, sir.
That's the actual title. Yep.
All right. So is this episode 3 or episode 4 for real?
For real, it's episode 4. Where we are in our system, I have no clue. I think it's episode 3 for us.
I'm just going to have 2 episode 4s. And we're just going to go with the...
Good, then we can get caught up.
Yeah. Then people will be like, what? You did this twice. I'm like, well, it's so good.
Yeah, Jeremy's doesn't count. It's fine.
I watch this is going to be the top downloaded episode of all time. People are going to be flocking over here. It's like, we love how Jeremy told the story of this episode of Parks and Rec. And then I'll be like, so sad. And I'll be like, listen, fake Jason. No, I would never be like that. I would never be like that. So
I hope not. Plus, it's not going to happen anyway. All right.
Yeah. Well, there's only one way to find out. Come back next week and we'll let you know.
Sounds good. I will talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.